Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lunch with Lisa. I'm Lisa Shield, and I will be spending the next half hour or so with you during your lunch hours. So, thank you so much for joining me. Um, Today's subject, I think, is terrific. I'm going to talk about the correct way to ask for what you want from a man, the correct way. So, I teach a 12-week course called Emotionally Naked Dating, and I get to observe a lot of the women who come through my course. And I notice something in some of the clients where when they're asking for help from me, um, they don't do it in a kind way. So there's several ways that we can ask for help that's really a turnoff. There's a sense of entitlement, and you feel like somebody's gotten her feathers ruffled, right? Because um, she's not getting what she wants. And then there's, people who get very victimized when they have to ask for help. I see a lot of different behaviors in women, and it's um, to men, this is really a turnoff. And the saddest thing is men, I'm going to hit the pause button here. Men want to make us happy. If a man is into you and he really, really likes you, his goal is to make you happy. And in order to do that, you have to let him know what makes you happy. If you don't do that, he's not going to know what to do, right? But a lot of us are not artful or skilled in how to ask for what we want in life and from a partner, especially from a partner. Especially today, so many women, myself included, we have polished this image that we want a man, but we don't need a man. But then underneath that, I want a man, but I don't need a man. For many, many women, when I start talking to them, there really is a list of things that they want from a man. And they're afraid to admit that. They're afraid in their own hearts to really admit that they do want and need a man. And there are certain things that they want from a man. So it's very important, to start to get clear with yourselves that there are things that we want and need from men. And it's not that we find a guy who's so perfect that he's just going to anticipate our every need, but that we need to learn how to start to communicate and ask for what we want and need from men. And that's going to require all of you to do something that many of you are resisting doing, which is getting emotionally naked. That's the name of my course. That's the foundation of the work I do with women. And you've got to start to learn how to get emotionally naked and admit that you want and need a man, that there are things that you not only want from a man, but need from a man. You can't get these things from your girlfriend or from anyone else in your life except from a man who loves and adores you. So, and you have to be willing to humble yourself. You know what? Something ironic about all of this is so many of us, and myself included, are spending so much time trying to prove that we don't really need a man. And I would ask you to look at that behavior, look at that belief, or that idea, and explore it. Because if you don't admit how much you want this, it's going to be hard to really get it. You're just hoping for something, a miracle or whatever. And one of the things, if you're going to get it, is you've got to start to learn how to ask for what you want. So the first point I made a little earlier is men want and need to know what makes you happy, or they can't give it to them. And that requires you to be able to communicate to a man in a way that he can hear it, what you want and need. What doesn't work is if you make him guess at it or try to show you in his own way. And then you turn around and you're disappointed. He did it wrong. It wasn't good enough. That is going to turn a man off. You will shame him and make him feel small, and he will not be inclined to want to do those things again for you. You cannot say, this was okay, but this is how you could have done it better. That's not going to work either. Or this is what I would really like. You've got to learn how to start to communicate your wants and needs to a man. So the first thing where this all starts, if I were to just give you lines to say or things to do, it wouldn't be genuine. And anytime we're stepping out into our love lives, into our dating lives in a new way, we want to do these things intentionally and with heart. So, and compassion for men. So you want to start to develop an understanding, first and foremost, of who men are, good men. I'm talking about really great men. And there are many of them, tons of these guys out there, if you know what to look for. So you've got to know how to find these great men. But once you do, they are looking to you for the clues as to what you want, what you need, and how they can make you happy. And then that man is going to be listening inside for, can I do these things? Is this in my comfort zone? Is this what the woman that I would want to be with? And so he's listening for that. And if he's really into you, he's going to start doing those things for you. He's going to be taking his cues from you and then doing those things. So why is this so important? Because a man cannot feel like a man unless you show him and let him be a man for you. He can't insinuate himself or whatever. You have to tell him how he can show up as a man for you. So you've got to do this with love and kindness and compassion and a deep love and understanding for men and who they are and what they go through in life. One of the most important things to know is that a man's relationship with his mother is foundational to all of this. So his relationship with his mother there is only one of those relationships in a man's life. And a lot of women don't realize that there are a lot of guys that just didn't grow up with good mothers, with mothers who understood the boundaries between them and their sons, and they may have really done some damage to that guy's view of women. And so the mother-son relationship is very important. And men are keyed into your tone of voice. They're listening for how you are asking for what you want. Are you lecturing? Are you, mothering him? Are you being a teacher? Are you manipulative in trying to get what you want? A guy is really paying attention to this. And he is going to react to you based on that approach that you're taking. So you need to be a girlfriend or a wife. If you're going to have a truly healthy, loving, beautiful exchange with a man, you've got to be a wife or a girlfriend. And you have to start to understand what a wife or a girlfriend would do in those relationships, how she would be with her man. Because any kind of teaching or lecturing or mothering is going to push good men away. They don't want to be talked to that way. And then, as we're talking about the correct way to ask for what you want from a man, you want to be, first of all, very careful. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Men are very easily shamed. They are very easily shamed. Imagine a guy wanting to be your hero and he got it wrong, and what that feels like, because what he's wanting are accolades and for you to get excited, and you're not. And so that is a huge turnoff to a guy, right? So you've got to be very, very careful, knowing that when you ask for what you want and you're communicating to a guy what does and doesn't work for you, you have to be extremely careful. Or if you make him wrong, you will shame him and he will not feel safe with you. Now, some of you are probably sitting there going, God, this just sounds like a ton of work, right? And it has to come from love and compassion. It has to be genuine and from the heart. So, when I'm with men and and especially with my husband, so much of this is so from my heart, because, well, all of it, because I love him. So it's all very genuine when I ask for things, or, I know he'll do almost anything he can possibly do for me. And so I use that power with him judiciously. I would never take advantage of him, like we all know some women do with men. I mean, I know he would do anything he could possibly do for me. But because of that, I'm very judicious in how and what I do ask for from him. Um, so you want to be loving and kind and compassionate and authentic in the way you ask for things. And you want to understand that men are, by and large, wanting to make women happy. They really are. They're looking, if they are interested in you or attracted to you, they want to please you. And if they get it wrong, they're going to feel shame. And then I can only take, I'm going to take an example from a client of mine who this client was, she was dating a guy, and it's such a beautiful story, partly because it's kind of unusual. She was communicating during COVID with a man, and he lived in Los Angeles, but he was somewhere else. He was not in Los Angeles. I think he was with his family for some reason. And he's a composer, a very, he does quite successful in his work and all. And she liked him, but she was working with me and she was dating several men at once. She was not putting all of her attention on any one guy, even him. And he missed a couple of phone calls with her. And I think they may have had one phone call and then he missed one or something. But, the way she communicated to him based on, what we taught her was, she said, what really turns me on, or what I really love, is a man who follows through, and when he calls, when he says he'll call. That's a huge turn on for me. And she really said, that's what works for me. And this man had missed, I think, 2 calls, and then he had set a date with her to see her, and his flight got canceled. And she had gotten his attention by the way she showed up, by the way she expressed this. She didn't make him wrong. She said, what really turns me on is a man who calls me when he says he'll call. And, that's what I'm looking for, right? And he didn't want to stand her up on another date. And so he rented a car and drove to another state and got a flight home so that he could make their date. And they're now engaged. So beautiful story, but it was the way she asked. She didn't shame him. She didn't make him wrong. She didn't even need to say, well, what happened or why didn't you call or whatever, and put him on the spot and make him have to explain himself. She just let him know, and then she dropped it and, sat back and saw what he did with what she said. As women, we often browbeat, we overtalk, we have to make our point and then make our point again and then make our point again. I'm so guilty of that, by the way. As I was saying that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's you. But we are, yeah, I lost my train of thought there for a moment. Um, I know, it's tough when you're so used to being in charge and in control and you're the boss and whatever. And you just tell people what to do. And that's how it's supposed to be in the work world, right? I mean, you're getting things done and you're saying you need to do this. And, if you're in a managerial or if you're in a position, you have to tell people what you need from them. But then we get into these relationships with men and, we're afraid, we don't know how to ask for what we want from a man who is not our employee. He's not our boss either, right? This is a person who is a partner in a relationship. And so we have to learn a different way of communicating our needs because that person isn't being paid or doesn't owe it to us to do those things for us. We're asking, can you, would you, I would love it if, right? You're not expecting that. And one of the things I will tell you, having a lot of gratitude, being able to look at people and not have rules and expectations and all, rigid rules and too many, perfectionistic expectations. You've got to, yeah, you've just got to let somebody come into the relationship and see who they are and see if this is somebody that you can be with. And if it is, you're going to have to learn how to ask for what you want and need from that person, but in a romantic way, in a loving way, in a respectful way, in the way a woman, would talk to her partner, in a way that is going to reflect his masculinity back to him and make him feel seen and loved and valued and supported from your end, right? A lot of women, it's funny, not everyone, of course, but I do see quite a lot of women who really feel like it's a man's job to make them happy. And this is a big mistake we make in relationships, is thinking that, this man is there to do all these things for us and make us happy. That's not what this is about at all. Men are not there just to give us what we want and make us happy. It won't work. We're there to be a team and to be able to make each other happier and make each other's lives better. But a man isn't a Pez dispenser either, right? As some women think that they are. Women have views of men and cliched views and views that are not fully formed, just like men have views of women that are immature and one-dimensional, right? And as women, if you really want to have a healthy relationship, you have to see men from a three-dimensional perspective or even four-dimensional, but you have to see men start to learn about who they are and what they're looking for from you. And you also have to start to, just like you want him to know what you need. And part of that, again, not, it's something I've missed in this conversation. Part of asking for what you want from a man is knowing what you want. Really, really getting clear on what you want in a partner. What are the things that really matter about how he treats you, how he shows up for you, and how he makes you feel? Those are the most important things. Those three things. And so you have to get clarity on what you're really looking for in a partner. Of course, you want someone who's an equal and on your level and all, but that's just part of it. He's got to be kind and giving and compassionate. He's got to be someone that shares your values. And above all, he's got to be emotionally available. These are the things you've got to look for. In my program, my 12-week emotionally naked dating program that I do with women like you, smart, successful women who all they want to do is find true love. They want a wonderful partner and they want a roadmap for finding him. So I work with these women to show them the 5 things they must look for in a partner. And these 5 things are different for every woman, right? They're called your final 5, and they are not based on something you pull out of the sky. These 5 qualities are the 5 qualities from your past that you have sacrificed that you must have in your next partner. It's really, really a cool process. So as you do it, you excavate these repeating patterns and then you break them. And it's an incredibly powerful exercise because the result of this whole process is that you raise the bar on the caliber of men you're looking for. You start weeding out very quickly anybody who doesn't fit that criteria. You have to have all 5. So the final 5 all must be there. So you're raising the bar on the kind and quality of man you attract and are attracted to. And you're looking for the right qualities. So it's really, really powerful. So in this course, I also help you get clarity on what you must look for in your next partner. And that is something else that starts to help you ask for what you want and need, having that kind of clarity to be able to ask, to know what you need, and then the skill set to be able to ask for it. Wow, that hasn't even been a half an hour. This may be one of my shortest talks ever, but I have so enjoyed this time with you. Just remember, you must ask for what you want and need. A man can't read your mind. He's looking, he's listening in your conversations for ways to make you happy. If he's super interested in you, if he's really interested, and you start mentioning things that will make you happy and he does them, that is a sign that he is listening to you. You've got to ask for what you want without being mothering or smothering or demeaning or trying to teach him or lecture him. You have to do it with love and heart, respect and compassion, right? And you want to ask it in a positive way. You want to say, I would love it if, instead of saying, I wish you wouldn't, whatever. So do this with authenticity, with heart, and find the right guy. If you're interested in learning more about me, please go to lisashield.com and click the button to watch my free 45-minute presentation. Stay to the end because I offer a free gift at the end of that presentation. We can jump on a call, you, me, or you and one of my team members, and we will show you how we can help you find the guardian of your soul. And the only way to find him is to start to ask for what you want and say yes to what you do want and no to what you don't want. I'm Lisa Shield. Oh, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also watch my other episode on Sundays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I have the most wonderful, wonderful podcast. We call it Getting Inside the Right Male Mind, and I interview my husband. So you get to get inside of the mind of a truly loving, heartfelt, masculine, conscious man. And you can rate and like my podcast. You can find that on Audible. You can find it at Apple. You can find it on Spotify or anywhere else you get your podcasts. So please rate and like the podcast. And finally, if you want to send me your ideas, some of my best ideas come from you, my listeners. Please, please, please send that to dwdpod@gmail.com. And DWD stands for Dating Without Drama. That's the name of the podcast. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. I send you so much love from my heart to yours. And please, please, please stay out in the dating world. Find great coaches and mentors and people who can really guide you to love. But don't give up. Stay on the path because he's out there.